Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. Everton and Tottenham Hotspur have apparently agreed a deal for the transfer of Richarlison. This is coming from a number of sources over the last couple of hours or so. The last day really, it all broke earlier this morning and throughout the day we've had more and more sources jumping on that Everton have reportedly agreed a £50 million figure up front with £10 million in add-ons with Tottenham Hotspur for the transfer of the Brazilian international. It is said that the personal terms and contractual terms have already been agreed between Richarlison's representatives and Tottenham Hotspur, and all as we were waiting on was a fee to be agreed. We know Daniel Levy and Bill Kenwright have met. It has also been said today that Everton rejected a £40 million offer from Tottenham yesterday and weren't happy with that whatsoever. And Everton had also rejected a number of offers from Tottenham which involved players transferring between clubs. I can only assume that is referring to Harry Winks, Lucas Moura, and or Steven Bergwijn as well, who are the names that have been thrown about over the last few days or so in the media. But it seems like the agreement has finally been made. I've seen a couple of reporters saying this is exactly what Everton wanted in terms of fees. Everton wanted 60 million, Everton have got 60 million. And I've seen a couple of other reporters, namely Alan Myers, who said that it's not what Everton wanted, but because of the financial situation and because obviously of the deadline for this year's books being today, Everton sort of had to settle with the 60 million and move forward with it to be able to, as I said, balance that against this season's books. And then when we spend that money to obviously replace Richarlison, that'll be on next year's books as well, which will look an awful lot better than what it would if we were to sell him in next year's term. So yeah, the news that we all knew was coming. You know, we sat here yesterday and we gave an update on Richarlison. At that point yesterday, it was very much a case of waiting for a fee to be agreed. We knew a couple of days ago that terms had been agreed, personal terms, contractual terms. We knew a couple of days ago that Richarlison wanted to leave, and we knew a couple of days ago that Everton and Tottenham were in deep negotiations for this transfer. However, it was always just going to be a case of, well, what will the fee be? How much will it be? How will the deal be structured? And really when this will happen. Obviously, we've known about this deadline today for the obviously the final day of Everton's financial year, and I think it's been in the back of everybody's minds that today was almost a sort of a deadline as to if we're going to lose Richarlison, if he's made that decision, if he wants to leave the football club, and there's offers there, then as I said yesterday, get it done sooner rather than later. Firstly, so we can get it onto this year's books and paperwork and stuff, but also so it gives us much more time to ultimately look for replacements for arguably our most important player, our highest goal scorer last season, a player who has consistently performed at the top of his game over the last 4 years, always gave absolutely everything every time he was on the pitch, battled, worked hard, showed his desire, fought for the badge, showed his heart, wore his heart on his sleeve, and scored some really, really, really important goals over the years that he was at the football club. So, when you add all of those things together, it is going to be extremely difficult to be able to replace that. Obviously, we've seen a couple of names getting thrown about in the media over the last couple of days or so, but to replace everything that Richarlison brings is going to be extremely difficult, especially given Everton's previous recruitment history, certainly over the last couple of years or so, which has, of course, been absolutely dreadful. And as I said yesterday, and I will say it again, and I said it a couple of days ago as well, Everton simply cannot afford to get this wrong. We can't afford to have another summer where we bring in players that simply aren't good enough, or don't suit the system, or don't care enough and not willing to work hard, or they're a little bit past it, or they're not quite suited to the Premier League, or they can't quite get their goal scoring form underway. We can't have a season where our recruitment is poor again. There is absolutely no margin for error. No margin for error this summer, given we've just lost our highest goal scorer and one of only, let's be honest, 2 players who scores goals. I know last season Dominic Calvert-Lewin was obviously injured for the majority of the season and therefore wasn't a massive contributor goals-wise, but he still scored, arguably the most important goal of a generation for Everton Football Club. But typically it's Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison who score the goals, and more typically it's been Richarlison, hasn't it, over that period of 4 years. Dom's had a really good 18 months in that period, but over the 4 years consistently it's been Richarlison, and now we've lost them seemingly, or we will be losing them over the next few hours or so, I can only assume. So the news, firstly, was broken by David Ornstein earlier this morning, who said Everton and Tottenham have reached an agreement, have agreed a fee for Richarlison. The fee is 50 million, with it rising to 60 million in add-ons. Richarlison is scheduled to have his medical today. And that was at literally 7:30 this morning. So one would assume a fee was agreed late last night, and it was sort of it was told to the media to keep it quiet maybe till this morning, or somebody at Everton has been working extremely early to get this deal over the line, so that it would fall into this financial year. Fabrizio Romano then jumped onto that and said Tottenham are closing in on Richarlison deal after full agreement on personal terms reported yesterday. Matter of time for deal structure to be agreed with Everton. Medical could take place soon. Fabrizio Romano then said Tottenham have signed Richarlison on a permanent deal. Here we go. First part of the paperwork's now signed with Everton after full agreement on personal terms. Fee will be 50 million guaranteed plus add-ons. Richarlison on his way for medical tests in Brazil. Done deal. And decided to tweet a picture of Richarlison photoshopped in a Tottenham shirt next to that tweet, which on the way to work at 10 to 8 this morning on a Thursday wasn't really what I wanted to see, to be perfectly honest with you. We then just had a number of other journalists jumping on this, in terms of, the Telegraph, the BBC, people like that jumping on the story that Richarlison is on his way to Tottenham Hotspur. But when you see Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, who are two of the certainly most respected journalists and most reliable journalists on the planet in regards to transfer news and transfer information, they don't really put anything out there if they don't believe it to be the truth. And both of them have said that this deal is virtually completed. Now, it hasn't all been signed yet, so it's not done until it's done. However, I read a couple of reports earlier on this afternoon saying that Tottenham want to get this deal over the line fairly quickly, so that they can obviously bring the player in and ultimately have it done, but also through fear of somebody trying to hijack the deal. We did actually hear from Fabrizio Romano a little bit later on in the afternoon that Chelsea tried to hijack the deal yesterday. However, they were unsuccessful. Bear with me 2 seconds and let me get the tweet off. Fabrizio Romano said Chelsea made an attempt to hijack Richarlison deal before agreement between Everton and Tottenham in place this morning for 60 million. Spurs have full agreement with both Everton and Richarlison on personal terms, just waiting for the medical in Brazil and the player's signature. And then David Ornstein also said that Everton are believed to have rejected the £40 million Spurs bid for Richarlison yesterday before offer raised significantly. Another club showed late interest, Chelsea, but Tottenham on track as talks continue to close deal in the coming days, which all parties want. So, David Ornstein pretty much coming out there and saying Tottenham want the deal. Of course, Everton are happy with the fee and therefore want the deal, and Richarlison seems fairly happy with the situation as well. The only way I could see this not going through and Richarlison moving on to somebody else is if another team, be it a Chelsea or somebody else, offers us significantly more money for him. And then again, even that, you'd look at it, and don't get me wrong, I think if Chelsea come in and offered something like £80 million, I think Everton would have to understand that, even though it wouldn't be in this financial year, it's a significantly higher transfer fee. However, I believe that because agreements have been signed, that this deal does fall under this financial year, which is what ultimately the club wanted in terms of a sale of Richarlison. So yeah, it seems like we're all but an announcement away from this happening, doesn't it? Obviously, you'll have paperwork to sign, and there'll be little, dot the I's and cross the T's, and photos taken and all of that sort of stuff, and medicals to be completed and all of that sort of stuff. But it very much seems like this is as I said, a case of just waiting for an official announcement now, which is sad. It is sad because ultimately, as I said yesterday, no matter how much you prepare yourself for it, no matter how much you sort of know it's coming, no matter how much we sit here and we talk about it day in, day out, and we sort of, come to the conclusion that this is happening and Richarlison's going and we'll be without him next season, he's leaving. It's not till, it actually starts that you start to see, tweets like Richarlison has officially signed for Tottenham, and then you're seeing Tottenham fans tweeting out videos of his highlights for Everton and where he's going to fit in their team, and, tweeting out tweets of them singing his song and stuff like that. It's not till you see all of that where it really hits you that, we've lost one of our most important players, and a player that has given everything over the period of time that he was at the football club. And it is sad, it's devastating, and it's angering. As I said yesterday, and I'm not going to sit here and repeat myself, it's angering, not because I'm angry at Richarlison for wanting to leave the football club and wanting to go and play in the Champions League, or wanting to go and play for a team that is showing a lot more ambition than what Everton are, but it's angering that Everton are in this situation in the first place. It's angering that the people that have put us in this situation are still at the football club trying to resolve this situation. I tweeted it earlier today, and I think I said it yesterday on the stream. I firmly believe that had Everton had a good recruitment policy in place, had Everton have showed progression over the last couple of years, had Everton have showed an identity, a way of playing, an infrastructure, a sort of, a model, and a potential sort of a supposed trajectory for the next couple of years, at least a decent one, I don't think Richarlison would have gone anywhere. I firmly believe if Everton were in the Europa League this year with all of those things in place that I've just mentioned, I think Richarlison would have been quite happy to stay at Everton. I don't necessarily think it's the Champions League he's going for. I think he wants to play Champions League football, and he's also looking at Everton and thinking, where's this club going? It's ran like an absolute fucking... It's ran like a children's fucking birthday party. It's nonsense. In fact, children's birthday parties are ran better than Everton Football Club, and that is where the anger comes in. That once again we've lost a player who, don't get me wrong, I think wanted to go. I've seen a couple of people saying he didn't want to leave. We've had to sell him because we need the money. He wanted to stay. I don't think he wanted to stay. He clearly wanted to go. He's reached an agreement with Tottenham. When he's wanted that transfer, and that's fine. That that happens in football, and I don't necessarily hold anything against him for that. But I just think had we have been ran better as a football club and ran how we should have been ran, I don't think he would have wanted to leave. And that really is where the anger comes from. And ultimately, it's sad. It's sad when you're seeing, Tottenham fans tweeting about him. And I actually think something else I found really, really interesting is all of a sudden various different news publications and television companies have started tweeting quite complimentary things about Richarlison. Tweeted a big graphic of a number of Brazilian players, and then him as the main player in the front of it who have played in the Premier League, saying, is this the best group of Brazilian players to ever play in the Premier League? And Richarlison's front and centre of that article. I think Sky reported something else. Why Opombo Richarlison is worth every penny for Spurs. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? Because when he played for Everton, he was a whinger who used to dive on all the time, and he wasn't always committed, and he missed easy chances, and he threw himself on the floor too easily. I wonder how Jamie Carragher's going to react next season. I bet you it won't be, get up Richarlison, you've dived. I bet you it'll be, oh, that's clever that he's won Tottenham a free kick there. So you're starting to see now the media and the way in which the media spin things. And as I said, if you didn't believe there was an agenda against Everton, go and look at what a number of these television companies and publications have put out there over the last 24 hours about Richarlison, and then go and look at the way they spoke about Richarlison 3-4 months ago. It's completely different. Same player, completely different. But ultimately, none of that matters. He is about to join Tottenham Hotspur if all of these rumours are to go through. And as I said, very rarely will David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano put something out there that they're not confident in happening, especially Fabrizio Romano with his little here we go. That's sort of his catch, that's sort of his trademark, isn't it? That's his sort of stamp on, yeah, this is going through. And if it doesn't go through and he's given it the here we go, he looks like a bit of a knob, doesn't he? So, yeah, as I said, it seems like we're just waiting for an official statement now, for an official announcement. Now, as I said, that mightn't be today, mightn't be tomorrow, it might be the weekend. It all depends on, ultimately his medical and the different bits of paper being signed. I don't think it actually fully needs to be announced for it to have gone on this financial year. I might be wrong on that, but I think as long as the agreement has been agreed, Everton can write this transfer off as part of this financial year. So don't, by any means, don't think that, you know, if it's not gone through tonight, then it's not under this financial year, because I think it already is, because there's an agreement in place. Interesting that, pardon me, sorry, I've just got home from work, so I've got a bit of a tickly throat. Interesting that Chelsea tried to hijack the deal last minute, but were unsuccessful. I can only assume that they either didn't offer as much as what Tottenham did, or they offered the same as what Tottenham did, but because Everton already had, you know, more things in place with the Tottenham situation, they went with Tottenham. I don't know, but certainly interesting that Tottenham have you know, had competition there, and interesting to read articles saying that Tottenham want to get this done you know, as quickly as possible over fear of somebody trying to come in and hijack it again. That would say to me that Tottenham aren't completely confident that you know, it'll just be them. They're still looking over their shoulder at teams that may come in for Richarlison. So yeah, listen, it's disappointing. The fee for me, 50 million plus 10 with add-ons. It's one of them for me. If Everton were ran the way they should be run, and had been ran the way we should be run for the last 4, 5, 6 years, we'd be getting £75 million plus for Richarlison. He's Brazil's starting striker going into a World Cup. He's already won a major tournament with Brazil. He's been one of our top performers in the Premier League over the last 4 or 5 years. He always gives it 100%. He's battle, he's gritty, he's skillful, he's clever, he's got flair, he can score with his head, he can score with his feet. But all of these people saying, yeah, can, but look at his stats, look at this, look at that, he's this, that. He is a £75 million plus footballer, given everything that he's got going for him. But the reality of the situation is, Daniel Levy knew the situation that Everton were in. And Daniel Levy knew that he'd be able to get a decent deal for Richarlison, and ultimately, listen, by the sounds of things, 60 million quid is much higher than what Daniel Levy was offering even yesterday, never mind last week or the week before. So, you know, as I said earlier, I've heard reports saying that Everton were happy with 60 million, and that's exactly what they wanted. And I've heard other reports saying Everton weren't happy with that price, but they sort of just needed to get this deal done before the financial year ended. So, and it became apparent that Tottenham weren't going to offer much more, so it was accepted. But look, ultimately, should we have got more? Probably yes. Would we have got more if we weren't ran by absolute fucking clowns? Absolutely yes. But the reality is, you know, we've gotten a fee that, yeah, is to be honest with you, we could have got 150 million for Richarlison. Very little changes in my mind. Very little changes, whether it's 50 or whether it's 150. And I'll tell you the reason as to why. Because in both of those scenarios, Richarlison leaves anyway. So I'm still massively disappointed and frustrated that we've gotten to a position where once again we're letting our best player leave the football club. But two, because I don't trust this board to spend £2 fucking 50. Never mind 50 million. Never mind 40 million. Never mind 100 million. I don't trust this board or these people in charge to spend that money wisely. Now, okay, you could say, but it's Kevin Thelwell now, or it's Frank Lampard. No, that's fine. But Kevin Thelwell and Frank Lampard haven't done enough to show me that I should trust them. And Bill Kenwright and Farhad Mashiri have certainly done enough for me to not trust them and for them to be nowhere near Everton's transfer business over the next few months. Well, ever again, but specifically over the next few months, given the importance of this window. So, people say, oh, it's 50, it's 60, it's 70, it's under. It's... For me, however much it is, it's about spending it correctly. And it's about spending it wisely, and I can't stress to you how important this transfer window is. I really, really can't stress to you how important this transfer window is. We cannot get this wrong. We simply cannot get this wrong. Not only do we need to go out and get a number 6, because we needed that anyway. We obviously need the centre back, but I'm sure we'll hear more about that over the next 24 hours or so. For me, we need a creative midfielder. For me, as I said, we need a number 6, a pacey, athletic, strong number 6, as well as a creative midfielder, as well as a replacement for Richarlison, a player that's going to come in, hit the ground running and score 10, 15 goals next season and get 5, 10 assists. Now, can we realistically do that with 50 odd million? Probably not. But there's players out there that can be purchased. We do that by avoiding spending 20 odd million pounds on Harry Winks, which thankfully it looks like we're going to do now. And we'll read some of those rumours in a second regarding that. We do that by by avoiding spending ridiculous amounts of money on players that are completely past it and shouldn't be anywhere near Everton Football Club. We do that by doing good business, going out and bringing in players for 10, 15 million who can come in and significantly improve us, like Palace have just done with Czech Decore. But do we trust Everton to go and do that, or do we trust Machete to go and go, well, we've got 50 million now, so let's just go and buy Wilfred Zaha for 45? Realistically, which one do we think is more likely to happen? Now, hopefully, Kevin Thelwell stamps his foot down and says, nope, you're not doing that. And Frank Lampard says, no, I want this player, I want that player, I want the other player. But I'm not confident that we'll replace Richarlison in the right way, because we didn't replace Ross Barkley in the right way. We didn't replace Romelu Lukaku in the right way. We didn't replace Wayne. Well, we replaced Wayne Rooney. We didn't replace Adisa Gana Gay in the right way. So the last four big, sort of players, important players that Everton have sold, we haven't replaced in the right way. So why should they be sitting here thinking, oh, well, it's all right, we'll replace Richarlison in the right way? All as we can do is trust Kevin Thelwell, trust Frank Lampard, and ultimately understand that this is now a massive, massive pressure on both Kevin Thelwell and Frank Lampard. Their first summer at this football club is the most important summer in recent history of this football club. Because we've now got to replace a player that guaranteed us goals. And nobody else in this team guarantees goals, by the way. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if we don't replace Richarlison correctly and Dom goes out and gets injured again next season or doesn't quite get back to his form of that season under Carlo Ancelotti, we're down. We're fucked, we're down. So the next couple of weeks are so important, and the decision to whoever it is to bring in to replace Richarlison is vital. Absolutely vital. Because if it doesn't work, then I think we'll all be worried. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It does only take a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's jump into a couple of more rumours then. In fact, before we do that, jump into those rumours, let me just double check that there's nothing else being said, because we're at this point now, certainly with the Richarlison deal, where any second there could be more news, there could be more information. Let's go to something positive. A lot of people have been asking about the new kit. A lot of people have been asking about when it'll be released, what it'll look like, when are we going to get it. We've waited ages, this, that and the other. Well, Hummel released a teaser about half an hour ago with Everton's badge on it. A sort of towered design, which from what I can see looks quite nice, but obviously it's literally just a blue design with just a blue background with sort of a tower design on it. We haven't seen anything else. The Everton badge and a date, the 1st of July 2022, with the words home, which is of course tomorrow, and that is obvious that will be the release of the new home kit. So yeah, listen, we'll all see it tomorrow. Ultimately it will be, I assume, early in the morning, because that typically is when it is. Something like 8, 9 o'clock, something like that. Usually it's 8 o'clock, isn't it? And yeah, we'll be able to sit on the channel. It won't be at 8 o'clock because I'm in work, unfortunately, but I'll try and mangle myself a little bit of time to do a little video talking about the kit, showing the training gear, showing the goalkeeper kit, all of that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, that's a bit of positive information, which means that if the club announce Richarlison's departure tonight or tomorrow, we've at least got a new kit to look forward to, haven't we? That's boss. Good times, eh? Good times. Yeah, we've just lost one of our most important players, but here's a new kit. Sound. No money mess. You can't blame Hummel for it or anything else. Let's just look at the new kit and see if we like it or not, and we'll make those decisions when it gets released tomorrow. A couple of more rumours to go through as well. If you are enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. Nearly 200 people watching, 36 likes. If you could get the likes up, that would be amazing. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. That would also be fantastic. According to Mark Douglas of he's a Northern football correspondent for iPaper Sport. He reported earlier today that Harry Winks will not be joining Everton after Frank Lampard did extensive due diligence on the Tottenham midfielder, basically translating to Frank Lampard had another look at him and decided, oh no, actually, you're a bit shit, so I'm not signing you. But no, listen, again, I think this is more a case of, and we've heard this from Fabrizio Romano, we've heard it from a number of rather reliable sources that Tottenham wanted £20 million for Harry Winks. Everton wanted to take him on loan. Tottenham wanted to insert obligation to buy for £20 million after that loan, and Everton effectively said no. And that was where those negotiations stalled. I suppose the extra due diligence is just a way of saying they couldn't come to an agreement effectively, and Frank Lampard deemed Harry Winks not worth £20 million, which is absolutely spot on because he isn't. Mark also says that Everton are now set to keep Dominic Calvert-Lewin at the club despite interest from Newcastle and others. That isn't a surprise given the loss of Richarlison. I said it a couple of weeks ago and I'll say it again. I don't think we could have afforded to lose both Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think that would have been an absolute disaster. It's hard enough replacing one of them, given how bad our recruitment has been, never mind replacing the two of them. So that's positive news. Mark also reported that Everton have made a pitch to Christian Eriksen for him to sign for their club. Interesting that Everton have designed a pitch for Christian Eriksen. I don't know whether that pitch is at Finch Farm. I don't know whether that pitch is at Goodison. I don't know where that pitch is. I can only assume it's made out of grass. Might be made out of 4G. It might have his face in the centre circle. It might be blue. I don't know. I don't know what this pitch will look like. But Everton have made a pitch to Christian Eriksen. No, I'm only messing. But in being serious, I assume that pitch is just, do you want to sign for Everton? And he's gone, I'll have a think about it. But I don't know. What can Everton really pitch? What can Everton pitch that Christian Eriksen is going to believe? Yes, we've got a young, hungry manager. You know, we've got a new director of football in this, that and the other. But, you know, Everton couldn't make a pitch to fans of this football club who have been fans for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years. Fans, the club couldn't come out and say, make a pitch to us fans. That'd make us fully go, yeah, I 100% believe that, because we've been fed that many lies and that much bullshit over recent years that everything that comes out of the mouths you question, and most of it you don't believe, because most of the things we've been fed have been utter nonsense. So I really don't know what they've managed to say to Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen wouldn't be a bad sign because he'd be coming in on a free and he'd fill that void of the creator in the midfield. But if we were to bring Christian Eriksen in, we absolutely would need a young, pacey midfielder to be around him, because we couldn't just rely on Abdoulaye Doucouré doing that job. And then Mark Douglas also reported that negotiations between Bill Kenwright and Daniel Levy over the transfer of Richarlison became tense. Kenwright was increasingly frustrated at Levi's attempts to lowball Everton for Richarlison. I don't particularly believe that, if I'm being honest with you. I can't see Daniel Levy. I can't see, Bill Kenwright becoming increasingly frustrated with anything. I think he's more likely to just break down into tears or into a Shakespearean drama, to be honest with you. They were having dinner, if rumours are to be believed, earlier on in the week to sort this out. And, listen, to be fair, I don't know whether this was Kenwright's decision or somebody else's decision, but to be fair, a lot of the reports we're reading at the moment said that there was a number of attempted, offers from Tottenham, and a lot of them were rejected by Everton. Obviously, we just read the £40 million one yesterday, and there's a lot of rumours saying that Tottenham tried to exchange players for Richarlison in order to save a little bit of money, and Everton were adamant that they wanted cash only, which is, money only, which is absolutely spot on. So yeah, that's pretty much the latest. That's pretty much the latest at the moment. Richarlison is a signature and a medical test away from signing for Tottenham Hotspur. Let's hope that the treadmill breaks and the pen runs out of ink. No, I'm only messing. Listen, this is going to happen, isn't it? And I think we've all braced ourselves. I don't think anybody will be ready for the statement that he releases, the goodbye post or whatever. In fact, you'll probably find me in bed when it comes out, crying my eyes out. No, but look, it's for me, if you're asking me how I feel about it, the fee I think is low, but is probably what I expected for the position that we're in, which is sad. The situation itself, I'm angry with, I'm frustrated with. I'm not really frustrated with the player, but the more and more I see Tottenham fans tweeting videos of him and I see Photoshop pictures of him in a Tottenham kit, it just doesn't quite settle well. And all I just keep thinking, I'm not looking at it thinking, oh, I'm devastated, I feel like crying, he's gone, we can't, we're not going to be good enough without him at this time. All I keep thinking is, fucking hell, we best replace this kid properly, because if we don't, we are in the shit. It's just, I just feel worried, I feel anxious, I feel nervous, I feel panicky about it, because I just don't trust this football club to go and replace him correctly, and ultimately it's down to Frank Lampard and Kevin Thelwell to earn that trust, because everybody should earn that trust in going and bringing in a suitable replacement for Richarlison, as well as strengthening in the other areas of the pitch that we need to strengthen in. One thing's for certain is it will be a big, big season for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. A big, big season for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Haddle says, nobody over 29, please spare me. TheMightyBlues says, for us to get the best out of Dom, we need to get in quality crossing wingers and a central playmaker. Stephen says, F him if he wants to go. Let him, we are Everton. I've seen a couple of tweets along the lines as well. Yeah, we don't mess about Evertonians, do we? We support our own, and then when you're not our own anymore, you get pushed to the side, shall we say. An injury-free DCL next season will be like a new signing, says P.S. Batch. Well, hopefully remains injury-free. We hit the jackpot by selling Richarlison for such an amount. Now we can concentrate on strengthening the squad, says Jeff. Reece says, who scores Richie's goals in this team if we don't replace him? Nobody. That's the point. Nobody scores Richie's goals in this team if we don't replace him. Which is shows the importance of replacing him. I'd give Calvert-Lewin more time, says he's an elite heading striker when in form. TheMightyBlues says Eriksen, for me, as much as I like him, is a pipe dream, though if we signed him, he'd be Mike's better than our expectations are. Lost number 10. TheMightyBlues makes a good point. He says, never mind his goals, Richie's goals, replacing his hard commitment and work rate is going to be harder. Absolutely, mate. I fully agree. It will be very, very difficult to bring a player in who replaces the goals and the creativity that Richarlison brings, as well as brings the heart, the desire, the commitment, the passion. So you've either got to bring somebody in that brings the heart, desire, commitment and passion, and then bring somebody in who brings the goals to try and, cover it in two players, or you've got to bring somebody in who just scores an awful lot more goals than Richarlison does, and therefore the heart side of it can be shown in other players, but at least you've got the goals. Listen, it's a worrying situation, which is why I'm worried. But anyway, look, we are going to finish it there then. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Sorry we couldn't get into all of the live comments. I think I'm going to do another stream later tonight. We might be talking about Richarlison officially leaving. We might have that announcement tonight. We might have it tomorrow. We might have it over the next couple of days. We don't know. But I've got to go to the gym within 10 minutes, so I've literally got to shoot. But thank you all so much once again for joining us. I really, really do appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. It only takes a second, and it means a massive amount to me as well. 240 people watching, which is unbelievable. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. That'll be absolutely fantastic. As I said, when the Richarlison news officially drops, we'll be back live and we'll be doing the video, just further discussing it and confirming that it has happened. We'll also be doing videos tomorrow regarding the new kit, which of course will be revealed, and as soon as the Tarkowski deal gets announced, or if it's officially done, I don't know. Listen, when it gets announced, we'll be doing a video. But yeah, hopefully we'll be doing a video a little bit later tonight. I'm actually going the pitches tonight, so it might be a little bit later than usual, but I'll try and get it out there. Semi says work on that cardio. I'm going to lift weights, mate. It's chest day, so no cardio for me. Trevor says nice one, Cam. Cheers, mate. Catch you later, says B.S. Batch. Ruben puts a thumbs up. Is right, Cam. Peace out, the Blues, says TheMightyBlues. Is right. Thank you all so much. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new as well, and we'll see you soon on TheMightyBlues. Nice one for watching. See you after.